Hey guys, welcome back, and today we are talking about Broadway grosses, so let's get into it. Up first, we have & Juliet, which performed to 7 performances and played to 97% capacity, and its overall gross was $779,000, which for a new musical is an amazing start, and I definitely do think this will be an incredible hit in this upcoming season. It's got a huge fan base, it's a jukebox musical, and it's actually pretty solid. I know that I've enjoyed the soundtrack. I don't think I'm gonna go and see it, but I do think there's a lot of interest in the show, and I wouldn't count it out. I think it's the surprise hit of the season, potentially. I think it could be the underdog of this season. Or not the underdog, but the unexpected, just like, whoa, I did not think this was going to hit so big. 1776 continues to flop with 70% capacity, which was down from last week's 72%. A Beautiful Noise performed to 88% capacity with 5 performances and $845,000. And an average ticket of 166, a top ticket of 347. I mean, this show's, it's going to be huge. It's going to be the next hit of the Broadway season. Like, it's selling very well. It's because it's Neil Diamond. It's a very popular artist. That's kind of the business of Broadway, and audiences will pick something that is safe to them, and A Beautiful Noise is a show that they will feel safe in spending lots of money on. A Strange Loop went from 79% last week to 77% this week, still in the $500,000 range, but obviously it's closing, so it doesn't really matter how it's doing, although it's managing to maintain quite decently, but these numbers are not sustainable for a new musical, especially in the time period that we're in economically. Almost Famous went from 76% to 81% with a gross of $641, so essentially it's not doing well. It is doing quite poor business-wise, but can we be surprised? I mean, the reviews came out and they were absolutely negative, and I personally don't think this show will make it to May of next year or June, whenever the Tonys are, and I see it being a huge flop. Beetlejuice is continuing to make $1 million with 74% versus last week's 72%. And Beetlejuice has been doing good since October. I think they've been doing $1 million for like the past 2 months. And again, I think a lot of it is because Halloween is a big time and they really up the advertising. They were on the Today Show in November with Thanksgiving, Christmas. Also because the show is closing, there's more urgency. And I do wonder if more musicals will have limited engagements and will make sure that people know this is not going to go on forever, so that way they can make the most amount of money. Funny Girl went from 98% to 98%, and went a slight increase in gross, still in the $696,000 range, but again, I think it can hit $2 million by Thanksgiving, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's $3 million for Christmas. Hadestown is going to close next. It did 93% versus last week's 91%. And it's only bringing in $698,000, which is pretty poor numbers for Hadestown, and there's no way that they won't close next year, sadly. Hamilton went from 92% to 91%, bringing in $1 million. Into the Woods went from 61% last week to 63% this week, still in the $710,000 range, but again, it's a limited engagement. It doesn't cost that much to produce on a weekly operating budget, so I don't think it will close before January, but it definitely won't transfer. But the St. James Theater is huge. Kimberly Akimbo went from 82% to 90%, and is continuing to increase week to week, which you like to see because it is an original musical and it's the best musical. Moulin Rouge went from 95% to 97%, still in the low $1 million, but it's steady. But again, I think Moulin Rouge only needs another year or two before we start to think about if it's going to close or not. Six went from 89% to 92%, bringing in $1 million over last week's $900,000. Some Like It Hot started off with 82% and an okay gross of $593. It only had 6 performances, but again, I see this show having a run similar to Tootsie, so it probably won't be that successful. The Music Man made $2 million again, going from 96% to 95%. And that extended, by the way, by an additional 2 weeks, so Beetlejuice will not outlast Music Man, which It's a bit of an L, but what can you do? The Phantom continues to make $1 million with 100% capacity, high millions, and high ticket prices. And again, Phantom going out on a very strong note. And I know some people said that, Phantom should extend, but that's because it's closing. Even before COVID, it was doing really poor numbers. So, its time has come. It really has. So anyways, those are the Broadway Ghosts for this week. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to comment, and I'll see you next week for more Broadway Ghosts. See you soon. Peace.